You know, that means we are starting and underway here on the Paranormal Portal. I'm your host, Brent Thomas, and you are the other half of the equation because you guys are my co-host tonight. So get ready to get busy because we got a lot of work to do. What can I say? Any one of these episodes could be huge. Let me just do something here. I did neglect to do one thing. Oh. That'll be a good news story. Let's get that one. And, oh, dear God. That one's kind of cool, too. Now I have to pick. Which ones. Maybe that one. This one's kind of cool, too. Let's do this one. I don't know. We'll do what we do. We'll get to what we get to, and then we'll just call it a show. Hope you guys are doing good. It's Saturday, and as always, we got a lot of things to get to throughout the course of the show. Of course, we're going to get to the news here shortly, and we're going to get to the Discord question of the week, and that will be right after the news, and then we're going to get to a little bit of the article from Thought Catalog, then we're going to get to what the hell is that, and then we're going to get to the Crypted corner, and then we're going to get the hell out of here. That's the agenda for tonight's show, but great to see all of you, as always. I drew a huge blank on that, Annie, though I did watch a couple of old UFO movies yesterday. Nice. Speaking of old UFO stories, we're going to dig up one of them in the news, as it's covered on Unexplained-Mysteries. Hi, John Stevenson. Hello, T-Bone. Who's over in Rumble? HB Girl to you and Dog Digger over there. Good to see you guys. Thanks for coming in. And hello to everybody over on Twitch, Facebook, and X. As you're watching, your chats will appear over here when you chat. I just can't respond directly to you other than verbally, or watch this chat for people responding to you that's on your screen if you're talking to somebody in the chat. Hello, Diane Fowler. How you doing? Deborah Neighbors, good to see you. Hooking Good Creation with Tina. Karen Alberting is here. Rachel gets it right. Jem Gwyn. Let me scroll up. I'm just kind of doing this old-fashioned. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should just go to participants. It just makes it so much easier. Isaac Ariola is in here. Isaac, I just saw the new pictures that Kirsten posted. They're so adorable. That little boy is just special. I mean, he's just a beautiful child. So, hope everything's going good on the ranch. On the Isaac and Kirsten and Ethan ranch, and keep the pictures coming. I love seeing them. I love the updates as that little man grows, that little peanut. He's adorable. If you haven't checked it out, ladies and gentlemen, of course, maybe you're newer to the show and you don't know the story, but two listeners of the show met each other, and the magic happened. And love was born, and then little baby Ethan was born. And so that's our Paranormal Portal love story. That's a beautiful story. And Kirsten and Isaac have been longtime family members of the show, and they met each other and decided to have a life together, and that's so beautiful. So Ethan is the first portal baby that I'm aware of from the whole course of his presence in this world. It happened here. It happened here on the portal. So I couldn't be more proud. Yeah, of course, Isaac, for sure, brother. For sure. But anyway, yeah, keep the pictures coming. They're beautiful. And what else was I going to say? I was going to say something else, and I had totally lost it. It's gone. It's gone from the gray matter in my head. So, yeah, there's no co-host other than all of you. And, of course, you know, we'll get to your participation is primary and key in the show. I have a baby now at 51. I will faint. You have a baby. It's baby Brandon, but he's a big boy. Brandon's a tall kid. Beautiful guy, though. Nice boy. You did a good job there, Mickey. Yeah, it's a great achievement to have such a wonderful kid. I should know. I got a few of them myself. I'm just saying. Hello, John Temperin. Good to see you, brother. I was going to do the participants, wasn't I? Never made it. Just started yapping, and next thing I knew, I was way behind the ball here. So let's get to the participants here on the YouTubes. Not a whole bunch yet. Annie Manuel, Deborah Neighbors, Diane Fowler. Oh, Dale Atkinson came in. Jem Gwynn is here. Hooking Good Creations by Tina. Isaac is here. John Stevenson. John Temprin. The Johns are present and accounted for. Karen Alberding. Last Light. Man from the West 420. Mickey G. I'm here. Rachel Gets It Right and T-Bone are here. That's what I'm seeing so far. So if I haven't said your name, Annie Manuel came in. Didn't I say hi to you? I'm sorry if I didn't. You're on top of my list now. So I don't know if you were before. I would faint too, since my youngest is 43 and my oldest is 51. Wow. Well, you guys look great. You look great. So, for being parents of elder children, you guys look amazing. And that's all that matters. All right, so there's the YouTube participants as far as I know it. And if more people come in, please be sure to say hi in the chat. That way I see you. That way I know you're here. Hello, please respect. Hey, Wes, good to see you, brother. And sometime, Wes, you'll have to come on and co-host with me. That would be lovely. If you can drag you out of your comfort zone there and pull you into the show. You are always welcome, brother. So we got a lot of things to go through tonight, as I said a few times now. So hello, Jeanette. Good to see you. Great to see you. Hello, friend is here. I saw that before, and now I see it again. I don't know why you didn't come up on the participants, but there you are. So great to see everybody, though. Brent, Wes, T-Bone. Amy Creel popped in, too. AFK for now, but present. Well, God bless you. Thank you for coming in, Amy. All right, so I don't know what to say. I guess we can get right to the news and get this ball rolling, but we got a lot of ground to cover with 2 short hours. It goes really fast here. And so, hey, Jaron, how you doing? Supernatural Station podcast came in. I basically posted a Paranormal Portal show tonight, sent you a text, and that other guy, I'll come on as a co-host. Okay, cool. All right, brother. We'll line up a day in one of the upcoming weeks, and you can help me drive the bus. I might let you drive the whole damn thing. I'll just sit in the Sheldon chair for the night. Gonna make you earn it. All right. So it's time for the news, ladies and gentlemen, where we're going to cover the events of the day. Well, they might not have happened today, but we're covering them today, so it's the events of the day. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the news. All right. I love that, John. Every time you say that. It's the only news I trust. God bless you. It's the only news I actually watch because it's the one I'm doing. Otherwise, I wouldn't watch any news. I just get my clips and highlights from online just so I kind of have an idea what's going on in the world. So, and, take it or leave it. But I don't pretend to be a very politically knowledgeable kind of guy. I have, I try to at least stay abreast of what's happening in the world. But this segment actually keeps me more in touch than anything. And I don't know if everybody is into all the stories we cover, but I try to cover a whole spectrum of things. And sometimes the news is very paranormal. Sometimes it's very odd or unusual or bizarre or interesting. I don't know. We cover a whole spectrum of things. So hopefully you like it. The only news I like, Karen Alberding says. God bless you, Karen. But we got a lot more. Barbara Moore popped in over on Rumble. Good to see you, Barbara. And let's see what else we got. That's, I guess, it. So remember, throughout the course of the show, we utilize a lot of different sites. So please, guys, support these sites. They are so incredibly well done. They need your traffic because your traffic equals revenue. It keeps the lights on, and these sites are incredible. Whether it's Unexplained-Mysteries, which we'll be getting to in just a moment, or it's Sasquatch Chronicles or Thought Catalog or Lon's Phantoms and Monsters, all of these sites are incredibly well done, and they need your love. They need your attention. It's not cheap to host your own channel, and especially a website that gets a decent amount of traffic. It gets really expensive, so please help them out. Please visit them. That's all I can say. I can't endorse these shows or these sites enough. What the hell's my browser? There it is. Here we go. We're going to start out the night with unexplained-mysteries.com. I didn't even hear about this until, well, I guess it's dated September 24th, which was a few days ago, but I just reread the headline now and went, oh, I didn't know about that, but let's check it out. This is from unexplained-mysteries.com. Gunman shot by officers outside a U.S. Air Force base near Area 51. What's near Area 51? Is that just another part of Groom Lake, or is it somewhere else? I don't know. I guess maybe they'll tell us oh, it's Nellis. Okay. The man had reportedly opened fire at the main gate to the Nellis Air Force Base around 80 miles from Groom Lake. According to reports, the incident, which occurred at around 12:30 a.m. on Wednesday, began when the man approached the base and fired several rounds toward the main gate. When security officers approached him, he then aimed the gun at them. He ended up being shot in the leg before being taken to the hospital for non-life-threatening injuries. Oh, he's so lucky he only got a leg shot on that one. Oof. You know those guys are dying for a headshot. It's like, you shooting at us? But anyway. While investigations were being carried out, the main entrance was closed and an alternative entrance was open to enable traffic to enter and exit the facility unimpeded. It remains unclear why the man was there or why he had fired his gun at the gates. Police have assured members of the public there's no further threat. Okay, that's good. Situated near Las Vegas, Nellis Air Force Base plays host to air combat training exercises and has also been linked to the development of government black projects and UFO lore. It's around 80 miles from Area 51, which is itself part of the Nevada Test and Training Range. The whole region has been at the center of UFO-related conspiracy theories for decades. Well, there you go. I don't know. It's odd. I can't fathom what this guy was thinking. I don't know. Was it a protest against military force being used around the world, or what? I don't know. But that's unusual, and probably not the best way to get people to listen to your side of the argument. Just saying. That's you start lobbing lead around, and nobody's paying attention to what you got to say anymore. They're just paying attention to how broken you are. So not a good way to convey your thoughts or your concerns about the global situations. Just my 2 cents for what it's worth. Don't start that way. Don't end that way either. Just, use your words. Use your words. It's like kindergarten. When you, Mr. blah, 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 Jimmy won't quit touching me. Use your words. Words. Anyway, moving along. I don't know what else to say about that. There's not much else to say, but I'm going to go right to the next one, which is from unexplained-mysteries.com. Ghost hunters awarded $2.8 million after a man shot at them in Texas. Oh, no. They got shot at for being ghost hunters? That's one man that does not advocate investigating spirits. Wow. It's kind of serious. Now, unless they were on his property, then they maybe had it coming if he didn't know they were there and they were just poking around for ghosts. Let's see what it says, though. The bizarre incident saw a group fired at while searching for the site of a local legend in Willacy County. The incident, which occurred back in 2020, saw the group, consisting of 7 young adults who were teenagers at the time, venture out into the hopes of locating the Devil's Lagoon, a local legend. Legend goes that when you go out there at night or whatever, you can hear like the trots of a carriage, like over the water, like said Slade Gutierrez, like one of the group like members. Everybody, I think, knows somebody that uses a hell of a lot of likes. Well, I was like going over there and like I was thinking, wow, like what's going on here? Like, wow, I don't understand. Like, I got out of there as fast as I could. This person is talking like it's like a few people I know. And it drives me nuts. All I can hear is like. Anyway, not that I'm a king of proper speech etiquette, but my God, that's a lot of likes. Things took a rather sinister turn, however, when they came across a man parked in his vehicle at the side of the road in the middle of nowhere. Ooh, so it wasn't even his property. Ooh. We were going down the road and we came upon a parked car at the side of the road and he waved us down, said Arturo Joseph Sayas, another one of the group. Then, out of nowhere, the man pointed a gun at their two vehicles and started shooting. My God. Terrified, the group quickly made their escape, having been fortunate enough to avoid being hit by the bullets. Also, they weren't shot. Good, thank God. I was terrified, said Slade. It was probably the most terrified I've ever been in my life. I don't think I've ever felt that kind of terror, that kind of emotion in general. It was so intense. This guy's much more eloquently spoken than the other guy. Now, 5 years on, a civil court has ordered the culprit to pay the group $2.8 million in damages. Yeah, that's going to be one big fat IOU forever, isn't it? What's he going to do? I mean, I'm probably assuming this guy isn't sitting on stacks of cash. So what's he going to start collecting cans and stuff and come up with $2.8 million? It's probably not going to get paid. But it's a good thought. I mean, at least it's, don't shoot at random people. My God. Now, 5 years on, a civil court has ordered the culprit to pay $2.8 million in damages. The shooting happened on El Toro Road, which is a public road, a county road, said Ryan Solis, the boy's attorney. And there was no evidence that they had been trespassing, that they had been stealing anything, destroying crops, shooting animals, nothing at all. That's what's so wild about it. There was really no justification whatsoever for the shooting. Oh, through flip dizzies. Nice, thank you. Thank you for the love. Wow. This guy was just angry at the earth, I guess. Yeah, there's lights. I hate everybody. And he starts dumping rounds downrange. That's terrible, man. I'm so glad nobody was shot, though. That's the beautiful part of that story, and maybe a miracle in its own right. Because I don't know, maybe the guy was a crappy shot, but thank God he was a crappy shot. So you don't hear that every day. Thank God you don't, but unfortunately we hear a lot. That's already disturbing. All right, this is the UFO incident I was referring to that we're going to go into the Wayback Machine, or at least the little Wayback Machine. I don't know. This is from 1967, so it's pretty far back. Before I was even running in the dirt around here. So let's check out this one from unexplained-mysteries.com, the UFO Phenomena Files. 58 years on, the Shag Harbor UFO incident continues to intrigue. Oh, I know I recognize the name. Is this the one from the two guys that were fishing and saw something like a craft hovering over the water in front of them? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. The incident involved sightings of an unidentified object followed by an extensive search and rescue operation. In October 4th, 1967, multiple witnesses reported a strange spectacle. A mysterious object had seemingly descended from the sky a short distance from Shag Harbor, a small fishing village situated along the Atlantic coastline of Nova Scotia. The object, described as some sort of rectangular in shape, with 4 bright lights, one at each corner, was also seen from Air Canada Flight 305, as well by other witnesses in the general area. So it was a pretty widely reported phenomena people were seeing. The plane's captain and first officer had reported seeing a rectangular object that maintained a parallel course for several miles before being engulfed by 2 silent explosions. Oh, what the hell? According to reports, the object was last seen entering the water of Shag Harbor, with some witnesses claiming to have seen it floating on the surface for a short time before eventually sinking. Oof. A concerted search and rescue operation was undertaken involving the police, the Coast Guard, multiple civilian fishing vessels, and even Canadian Navy divers, and ultimately no trace of the object was ever found. So what could the object have been? If it wasn't an alien visitor, a top-secret aircraft that went wrong, or something else, we may never know for sure. I don't know that I'm familiar with this one. I know I've heard reference of the Shag Harbor incident. I just didn't know the specifics, but now I know. That's interesting. I wonder what was wrong. And that's also the part of the UFO phenomena that really kind of cooks my bacon. It's like, these are, oftentimes we hear claims like these could be millions of years advanced to what we have. But they still crash. They still have problems. And why? I mean, if they're still crashing, they're maybe not as advanced as we think. I mean, they are and they aren't. because they're still suffering from the same crap that our stuff does. So I don't know. Very strange. But I guess it's a couple of explosions and it went down. But they could never find it. I guess they don't just sit in a pile of rubble wherever they land. Interesting story, though. There's one more. Might as well read it. Excuse me, since it's open and all. This one's from the Paleontology Files. How long? Not too long at all. But here you go. The origin of people. I remember when we were hearing things back in the day of like 30,000 years people have been around. 15,000 years people have been around. Well, now it's 1 million year old skull pushes human origins back by 400,000 years. Maybe there is a reason they're finding human footprints in rock next to dinosaur footprints. Maybe we've been around a little longer than they've given us credit for. I don't know. Just saying. But that's a weird one. A new analysis of a skull found in China was rewritten the history books on when and where modern humans arose. Known as Yunxian II, the skull, which was discovered in China, dates back 1 million years and had long thought to have belonged to a more primitive species of human known as Homo erectus. But now, however, a brand new analysis of the skull has suggested that it instead belonged to Homo longi, also known as Dragon Man, which had close ties to the Denisovans. If true, this would date the skull near the time when our ancestors diverged from three distinct groups, the Denisovans, the Neanderthals, and modern humans, while also pushing back the date for our own species emergence by some 400,000 years. It also adds credence to the idea that our species arose in Asia, not Africa. This changes a lot of thinking because it suggests that by 1 million years ago, our ancestors had already split into distinct groups, pointing to a much earlier and more complex human evolutionary split than previously believed, said Professor Chris Stringer of the Natural History Museum in London. It more or less doubles the time of origin of Homo sapiens. This fossil is the closest we've got to the ancestor of all those groups. Oh, there you go. He was a looker. Looks like he got a Gallagher mallet to the skull, but that old comedian used to smash watermelons. I don't know. In my head, it was hilarious, but that's not a lot of brain pan there, though. I'll bet you he wasn't solving Rubik's cubes. But anyway, that's cool. There you go. Hello, Dog Digger. Good to see you, Shelly Belly 2 over in Rumble. Nice that you're joining us. Thank you so much. And there's Shell Bell over here on YouTube. Benny from Oz is here. And hi, Brenton family. Hello, Jose. Good to see ya. There was a Pangea, a supercontinent, at one point, is what is believed. It's because basically the continents that we have now look like puzzle pieces to each other. Like they might have all been one great big landmass that split apart, kind of did its thing. I don't know if there's merit to that or not. Maybe. Hell, I don't know. Anything's possible. It seems to make sense when you look at the shape of some of this stuff and go, oh, yeah, that could have fit right there. And, look at it like a Lego thing. It looks like it could be. I think that, the other thing that's kind of cool, like the Appalachian chain of mountains, is actually parts of the same mountains that are in like Scotland and in the UK and in Greenland or Iceland. That was all one mountain chain at one time, they believe. So, how old are those mountains? Well, they're as old as the land, I guess, really. So, but there's been a lot of upheaval and stuff. So interesting stuff, geologically speaking. And I guess it all split apart for some reason. I had to go Google. BB, I had to Google what buying a bot meant. Yeah, because when I asked supposed to be trusted people on chats every night, no one would answer that question. That's interesting. I don't know what you're talking about for sure, Shelly Belly, but very cool. I didn't know that. There you go. This has been a presentation of the Paranormal Portal News. Hope you found it insightful, educating, and entertaining. And I hope you just had fun. So let's get back to the rest of the show. Ladies and gentlemen, we're getting back to the rest of the show. I think the thing to remember, Karen, is that the Pangea supercontinent was probably much, much more long ago than the emergence of the sapiens, if you will, of the hominoids. I think that the supercontinent idea predates that by quite a long time, millions of years probably, is the difference. So yeah, I mean, there might have been a universal origin for life, and being from this Pangea supercontinent, but it broke up, and then it's possible that there's one common ancestor or several common ancestors to what we are, which is Homo sapiens. So there's a lot of years in that pile. That's different things happened in the geological record, or so to speak. I guess I don't know if I'm making sense for sure. I'm just throwing out big words and hoping you guys are impressed. Are you impressed? Maybe you are, maybe not, but damn it, I'm trying. All right, so we got to get to the next part of the show. I don't know if Mr. Chucky's here tonight. I love it when he's on here and can do this himself, because it's kind of cool. When he's here to read his own segment, that's fun, but I don't think he's here, so I haven't seen Chucky. Has anybody seen Chucky? I got to open up this. Oh, excuse me, got to cough first. There we go. Got a message from Eric. What did he say? Oh, it's a Thinker Thunker link. Very cool. I like Thinker Thunker's videos, guys. If you're ever looking for pretty interesting takes and at least an effort to try to quantify some of these Bigfoot sightings, Thinker Thunker's done a hell of a job. And I'm not implying he's always right, but at least he's out there doing something, and he's putting it out there. And when he's wrong, he'll be one of the first people to come out and say, hey, guys, I was wrong. I was proven wrong. And I really respect that. So if you haven't checked out Thinker Thunker's line of videos on YouTube, that's the name of his channel, Thinker Thunker, please do, because he does some great work talking about proportions, like primate proportions versus human proportions, and why things like Patty couldn't have been a Bob Hieronymus in a suit, because the proportions are all wrong. Bob would have had to have many bones broken to do and line up with Patty's physiology. So Jackie Hall says, I enjoy his channel. Yep, you got good taste, Jackie. DNA proportions is so good. I mean, he really did a great job. Hey, Werewolf, good to see ya. Let's see, am I missing anything else in the chat? No, Chucky's not sick. He just he has a son, and his son comes and hangs out with him every other week. So sometimes he can be here, sometimes he can't. Usually he stops in, though. He just can't stay, which is cool. Stepping up and doing the dad stuff is more important, folks. I don't begrudge the man that. So let's get to the Discord question of the week, because it's time for that. How was that for a really awkward segue? Yeah, it was all free. What do you want? What do you want? I'm looking for, where is it? God, there's a lot of answers for this one. We're going to be busy on this for a while, folks, but should be great. Here we go. It's time for the question of the week. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Time for the Discord question of the weekend. And if you're not familiar with this, if anybody, the mods, could put the link to the Discord out there if you haven't already. But our Discord is a free server. It's out there, and it's available for any of you to join. If you like the chat room here on the Paranormal Portal, especially all the Rumble and the YouTube primarily, most of those people are over on our Discord already. So you can continue the conversations even when the shows aren't live. And there's a hell of a lot to see and to look at. And Discord is a little unusual if you're not familiar with it. But basically, when you join a server, it's going to look like this. This is the Paranormal Portal server. Let me move it down. So you can see there's where your servers are. And this is, I'm clicked on this one, which is us. And then over here on the left, with using your mouse wheel, you can just go through the threads, the different discussion groups that are going on, and even some voice channels if you guys want to chat. Amongst yourselves in voice chat, you certainly are welcome to use that. I don't think there's restrictions on that. If there is, let me know, because we can lift that. But this is the question of the week, which is Chucky's. Chucky Danger, one of our mods and admins over here on Discord, comes up with a question every week. Sometimes you guys have talked with him and posed these questions to him, and then he goes on to create the thread. But it's just an opportunity for us to ask a question about the amazing body of the paranormal and see what you guys think. And you guys have done have had some amazing input on these subjects that, I love to ponder this stuff, and I've been doing it for years. I got a ton of theories and ideas about what might be going on without much way to quantify them. But you guys have put things on the table that I never would have thought of. And it's like, wow, that really helps me in my own personal journey to understand this weird stuff that I've experienced. So I love this conversation and this segment because it gives you guys a voice to weigh in. And there's no wrong answers. Don't be afraid. Don't be shy. Like, oh, I'll sound like an idiot. No, you won't. Because we're all idiots on this stuff. Nobody knows any of this stuff. Nobody knows what any of this stuff is. They'll tell you, there's some people out there who'll tell you that they're experts all day long, but they're not being very genuine because you can't be an expert of something you cannot actively study and measure repeated results. I mean, it's not possible. You may have theories. You might have great theories, but it doesn't make you an expert. I hate that term expert in the paranormal, supernatural, Fortean topic threads because there is no such thing. But there are some great thinkers, some great ideas, and I'm not begrudging that. But anyway, this is your chance to sound off. And I love that. I love that you guys weigh in on this. So let's get to the question of the week. This week from Chucky Danger, our master of the question of the week. Question of the week. The recent Hellfire missile video has sparked new interest and discussion among UFO enthusiasts. The video seems to show the missile deflecting from its trajectory and keep going, while the supposed UFO has 3 orbs appear from behind it. And what are your current thoughts about UFO and their abilities? Good question. And that's a pretty, I think it's one that's on all of our minds. My God, a Hellfire missile is no joke. That should basically blow anything out of the sky that can get into the sky. But that UFO just kind of shrugged it off and kept going. So ZX81V2 comes in first and said, it's fine until they fire back. Then whose fault will it be? Yeah, that's true. That's a great point. I mean, is it really, really well advised to just say, what the hell's that? I don't know, let's shoot it. Because these are things that are at least way more advanced than we are. And clearly, if they don't want to be bothered by us, they probably won't. Although, there is claims of them being shot down. Not that it can't happen, but what are the ramifications of that? Like, what if you take one down and it turns out to start an intergalactic war? I mean, how long are we going to last? 5 minutes, maybe? Yeah. It's not going to be good. But good point. The Dachshund Master comes in next and says, were those escape pods chaff? Oh, that's actually a great thought. I often wondered about that. Like, what are those? It looks like it blows pieces off of it. But those pieces don't just fall into the water. They continue to follow the craft, which kind of wobbles after it's hit, but just keeps going. So could those have been some form of escape pod? Maybe. That's a great thought. Never thought about that. ZX81V2 says countermeasures. Could be. Those could be countermeasures. It's hard to say. Michelle Wolfong comes in next, says, interesting video. The missile trajectory was strange. I agree, because when watching that video, as the craft is moving, I'm going to change here's the craft moving across the screen. Actually, it'd be like this for you guys. Now, the missile kind of comes from like this and moves with it and then hits it. I would expect the missile to come at an angle to intercept. And that has always bugged me since the first time I saw it. Like, well, how does that work? That missile keeps the horizontal motion in check and continues on that trajectory, but is matching the horizontal movement of this object while it's coming in a vertical path, meaning not really vertical, but length and width, width and height. It's coming along the height trajectory pretty straight, but that seems to be moving in response to the UFO movement. And I thought that trajectory doesn't make sense. It didn't look like what I would expect it to look like. I'd expect the missile to come at an angle to intercept an intercept trajectory where it's traveling both horizontally and vertically. So, I don't know. Very weird. Good question. Interesting video. The missile trajectory was strange. I watched it several times, and I'm not sure if they're orbs or debris trailing UFO UAP. More research for sure. More videos showcasing different angles. Yeah, it's hard to believe that there would only be one angle on that. I guess the missile was fired from a drone, but I imagine that drone must have had some form of camera on it as well, if not only the missile itself would have a camera, showing. Because, during the Iraq War, you could watch missiles going like down chimneys. You're like riding along with it, like, oh, we're heading down a smokestack. And then boom. So I don't know. Very strange. There's got to be more angles for it. You're right. That's a great point. Gasman says, I still have questions whether it's a hellfire or not. Yeah, I wouldn't have any idea. I have no understanding of the different kind of munitions and any telltale signs of one versus the other. It just seems to come in and blow up. So it was a missile of some kind, it seems. Andy Manul comes in next and says, I think the general public understands things in terms of what we already understand. 800 years ago, UFOs were angels or demons. In the space age of the 50s and 60s, they were spaceships piloted by biological aliens. People even saw rivets on them because the aircraft they knew had them. Other aircraft had to have astronauts, even if their acceleration was not sustainable for a human body. Now, in the age of AI, we wonder if the so-called ships are alive. In the age of beginning to shape plasma and laser weapons, we wonder about that too. Excuse me. We understand the capabilities of UFOs within the limits of our own culture and technological context. We are like a barely contacted tribe in the Amazon trying to understand nuclear reactors. The truth of the matter of UFOs is so far beyond us that we're left with guesses. Yeah, that's great points. It'd be like trying to explain quantum physics to a bunch of shepherds in ancient Israel or in the deserts of Egypt or something. I mean, it's like, how can you make people understand this? I think now we have obviously more context and more understanding of the world around us and the way particles interact and an idea of the quantum and all of that. So I think we're more equipped now to at least address it than we've ever been before, but we are probably still no closer to any answers than we were back then. So hard to say. ZX81V2 comes in again, says, way I see it, they have craft far beyond anything we have, even the recovered stuff. Why would anything we can lob at them harm them? They traveled through space to get here, facing whatever mad forces the universe lobs at them. And then when they finally get here, the first thing we do is take pot shots at them. Exactly. That's a bad protocol. It's like firing an amusement fair's shooting range gun at a tank, hoping to do something. Put the guns down, say hi, never know. Xenophobic humans, we have enough phobias. Let's leave this one in the dirt. Yeah, true enough. Good thoughts. Barbara Mora comes in next and says, it's a bit shocking to see the video and watch the object recover from a missile hit, but I'm not ready to believe that it wasn't a human-made object. I think I need to see the entire interaction with the object before making a decision on what was shown. Yeah, we'd all love to see more context for this event. I don't know if we ever will. I mean, we only have a few seconds of the Tic Tac interactions that went on for a pretty good space of time. But we got clips, and I guess that's better than nothing. But that's probably all we're going to get unless you're in the inner circle there. Thank you, Linda. God bless you. Linda gifted a membership. It looks like Brandy Copeland got it. Congratulations, Brandy, and thank you, Linda, for making that happen. That is so cool. You guys are amazing. Just amazing, and if I missed any others, please let me know. I don't know. Let's go on to the next one. This is Ace. DOPA. I don't think I've ever seen Ace before. Is that a rebrand from somebody? I don't know. But if that's a new name, if it's a new... I didn't see him enter, because I don't remember saying hi to Ace as a new member, but it's great to have you here. I currently think that most of them are unmanned probes, perhaps interdimensional, perhaps from someplace outside of our planet, at least the one in the video is. And sure, there are probably plenty of sightings of experimental craft, and there's decent evidence to suggest there have been cases where these craft have taken people for reasons unknown, and it was obviously a clandestine government operation, or at least that's how it seems, unless there's also a screen memory. And I very well think it could also be. It's a real confusing mess for sure. Yeah, no doubt, Ace. And definitely beyond anything we currently are able to recreate, unless there is an insanely advanced technology that world governing bodies have not released to the public. And I acknowledge that is entirely possible, and is stated pretty frequently that the tech that our government has is a decade advanced beyond what we have domestically. Actually, the number back when I used to teach computers in high school level was 30 years advanced. So it's like 3 decades. But now I've heard that that gap has grown even bigger. So it's probably more like 50 or 60 years difference. And if you think about 50 years ago, computers took up entire floors of buildings, and they were about as powerful as a calculator, basically just a calculator. So where are we at now? When you look at your computers at home versus even 15 years ago, these are two very different animals. We are using what would have been a supercomputer in, I don't know, the early 2000s probably, in our own homes. So the computing power has just gone through the roof, and it just grows geometrically. So just the way some of these things are described and to move make me think they can't be ours, and further with reports of contact, yeah, there is something more to it, not just our world governing bodies playing with their shiny toys. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Michelle Wolfong says, this is Ace responding to Michelle Wolfong. Yeah, that was my thought as well. Were the smaller pods that pop out to protect or defend the craft, or were they just debris caught in the field surrounding the craft and being dragged with it, because they definitely seem to move with the craft instead of falling away like you imagine it would. Yeah, that was when people were saying, well, some debris blew off, but it continues to go with the trajectory of the object with no signs of any drag slowing them down or as they're maybe disappearing into the waters below. You don't see any of that. It just seems like there's a magnetic field, and these pieces that may have blown off are still in that field being pulled along with it. I think that's the breadcrumbs there. I think that probably the missile did some damage, but it wasn't enough to down the thing, but it was enough to demonstrate, look, there's a field surrounding this craft that's keeping pieces in play. And maybe it can reassemble itself. I don't know, I'll say, okay, so Karen Alberting says, I apologize, I have no thoughts at the moment on this matter. No, fair enough. Android Paranormal comes in and says, it is highly anomalous for sure, not just because the missile bounced off of it, but because that could potentially happen from a grazing hit of a large balloon. I've heard that argument before, but I just have a hard time believing that a balloon could shrug off a missile. But mainly because the pieces that come off the object have been demonstrated to have identical shape and size on the IR video. Oh, okay, good point. I didn't know that. What are the chances that debris from any impact create 3 identical shaped pieces? That is essentially statistically impossible. Not saying it's exactly alien, but it certainly is highly anomalous. See the attached analysis from former advanced officer analyst for the DoD. Oh, that's interesting. So you guys definitely check out this link from Android Paranormal. That looks really interesting and might offer some explanation. I will say one thing I was just thinking of was how many times have people seen these orbs like this? There'll be a main light in the sky, and then it'll break off into these littler lights, which go around, and maybe go off on their own or maybe rejoin that original. Maybe that kind of gives us a peek at how these things are constructed, that maybe they are modular and can break into a bunch of different pieces to go off and do different things and then rejoin, come together in a Lego kind of fashion. I don't know. That is interesting, though. So I guess I should get this back on screen so you guys can see it. This is the link that Android posted here, so definitely check that out. Last Light comes in and says, definitely a curious video. I'll bite. It's for sure something. Alien? Maybe. And it wouldn't surprise me if it were. I just can't fathom something man-made surviving and maintaining speed while spawning some mini-me's, which also keep the same speed. Getting hit by any kind of missile is mind-boggling. All right. Next up is Playnendo Gaming, our friend from across the pond as well. I think that we see all this, and it doesn't even count as a soft disclosure. We're too desensitized to even see what is happening here. If it's real, and I say if, this would be the first contact, would it not? Well, it's maybe a first contact for that craft, but I don't believe. I mean, I believe these things have been here for long time. Possibly helping to foster our development from the ancient times. Again, the ancient aliens idea. So I don't think they're new to us. We're just new to acknowledging them. Rachel 101, one thought I just had above UFOs. What if some of them are not technical vehicles, but devices that contain a portal, a doorway to the distant civilizations that control them? There would be no danger to the pilots, as we've seen UFOs do remarkable maneuvers that would kill anyone inside because of inertia. The craft could land and aliens could simply step through a doorway onto the Earth. Oh, that's a fascinating idea, actually. There's another one of those ideas like, wow, I don't think I ever would have got there, but that's a great thought. Maybe the pilots are safely tucked away back wherever they're from. Whatever that means, if it's some interdimensional kind of thing or if it's just some kind of wormhole that's generated inside their craft. It's possible. Yeah, great thoughts. Lenda comes in and says, so much to think on. Great answers, y'all. Yeah, very cool. Someone else is typing. Let's see who's typing here. Barbara Moore is typing. All right. I'll wait and see what Barbara's got to say. She's still typing. Okay. But those are great thoughts. I don't know. Again, there's a lot of questions about the video itself that I don't really understand. And they are questions, the trajectory of the missile, how it came in at a right angle and hit that thing. I don't understand. That doesn't make sense to me, but I'm not, obviously qualified really to question it on a technical level. But the pieces that broke off, that they were mini versions of the whole, I didn't know that before. I find that interesting. So there's a lot of questions, and it's just a clip. We only got a little clip to work with, but it is a form of disclosure in a sense, because it is an officially released video that's showcasing something incredible that happened that we don't understand. And I'm not going so far as to say this is definitely alien. I believe it probably is, but I mean, we just can't know from a few seconds of video. All right, Barbara ended up saying, Rachel, you always have a valuable deduction. Yeah, Rachel gets it right. There's a reason that's her name. So great thoughts, everybody. Thank you so much for weighing in. Taking the time to weigh in. I realize not every question is going to appeal to everybody to pitch in an idea, but if you see one that you feel you have at least something to offer, go ahead. There isn't any wrong answers. There's no stupid answers at all, because when it comes to this stuff, we're all stupid. Disclosure is similar to how you boil a frog. Yeah, that's a good point, Wes, actually. It's this slow heating. And maybe they're doing it that way because they think we just can't handle hey, guys, guess what? We've been visited. They're here. We don't know what the hell they are, but they're in charge. Don't forget to, I don't know. Don't forget to, file your taxes. Whatever. I don't know. But you're right. That might be a lot. And so maybe this is a process of disclosure. It's just this slow release of pieces and parts. And eventually they'll maybe pull the curtain back a little more. I think a lot of it will remain top secret or above, just because, I mean, that's the old caveats, national security. I'm sorry, we can't reveal that. It's a matter of national security. So there's a lot we'll never know officially. But then again, I think that the time for needing disclosure is kind of over anyway. I think there's enough out there that even average people are like, well, there's something going on. I don't know what the hell this is, but there's something going on. And if that's a place you can start holistically, that's pretty good. I don't expect everybody's going to get to, these are extraterrestrials or these are interdimensionals or whatever. People will get as far as their paradigm will allow, but at least they're not like treating every mention of this stuff in the news like, the punchline of a joke. Like, now we're going to go over to Becky, who's talking to Phil over on the trailer park, who saw a strange craft descend into his yard. And then the chuckles that come after. It's like, oh, thanks for making everybody look like idiots. We appreciate that. And we're not dumb. We're not stupid people. We're seeing weird things and we don't understand. And I would go farther just to tell us, hey, we don't know. That's a better place. And at least now people aren't dismissing it like a joke. So I guess we've made some progress, right? I think so anyway. All right, so this has been the question of the week. Thank you, everybody who took time to participate. I appreciate it a lot. And we'll get to more of this. There it is. Bada boom. All right, so we are deep into the path of the paranormal portal here. We're at about 1 hour. That's pretty perfect time that we're setting here. So we're going to move on to an article I've been covering from Thought Catalog, and this is from Stephanie. I said Stephanie. It might be Stephanie, I guess, but it looks like Stephanie Shaner, Stephani. Do you notice how quiet the ghost radar has been tonight? It's like nothing. It only said something before. Hi, Henry Don. Good to see you. Roman Daniels. Good to see you. Deb, you going to bed? Good night. Thank you for coming in for a while. It's great to see you. So we're going to go through more of this, and this is 11 paranormal investigators reveal their most bone-chilling experiences. I like talking to paranormal investigators because these are people that put themselves into positions to have a lot of experiences. A lot of people are dealing with hauntings or, weird stuff happening in their homes or whatever, but paranormal investigators have a good chance of having a variety of experiences because they go to a variety of locations. I do some investigating myself, and I really, truly enjoy it. I found it to be an incredible experience that I just enjoy seeing what I can see and experiencing what I can experience. But it's not for everybody, and I wouldn't recommend it for everybody. But if you feel like we're going to get to what the hell is that after, Rachel. We're going to get to a little more of this article first. We're going to get to it. Don't worry. I'm trying to stagger the segments. No, I'm not trying to mock your question, but we will get to it. But I'm going to do a few more of this article, and then we'll get to the what the hell is that. All right, so we're going to get to this. We're on number 8 of this roster of fun. Whoa, forgot to turn that off. There we go. We're on number 8. Someday I'll set up hotkeys for that instead of manual clicks. That would be better. I have needs. I know. I will meet your needs. We'll meet your needs. Don't worry, Rachel. I haven't forgotten. I actually have a ton of things to go through on the what the hell is that segment, but we're going to do a couple more of these. Number 8. We're investigating an old jail that has since been turned into a museum in Colorado. It was the team and I, as well as the museum shop employee, who were all in the building at the time. There is a basement to the jailhouse that is very cold and pitch black. In the basement, there are 2 wide open rooms, as well as a smaller room that was called the ice room. It gets the name because it really is ice cold in there, and during the wintertime, it's where the dead bodies would get stored. When the ground was so cold, it was difficult to dig graves. So the jailhouse would store deceased inmate bodies in the ice room until the weather warmed up enough to dig the graves. There were 2 groups in this basement doing investigative sessions. One was near the ice room and the other was in a wide open storage room, which is the group I was assigned to. Both groups had to speak quietly so as to not disturb each other, as we were all fairly close together. While doing a flashlight session with my group, we started asking questions and got a response. When asked if the spirit communicating with us was an inmate, the flashlight started strobing. So we knew it could have very well been an inmate who passed away in the jail. Seeing as we were in the basement, suddenly we hear a very distinct violin music coming from the room next to us, where the other group was. We all jumped up and ran over to them to see where it was coming from. The ice room group looked at us with a confused look on all their faces. They said none of them have heard the music at all. My group said that would be impossible because the music was so loud and distinct. How could we have heard it? But they couldn't. Well, the session time was up and it was time to rotate groups. We went back upstairs to the main floor and I was chatting with the shop clerk about what had happened, and she laughed and said she wasn't surprised. After all, while researching old jail records, she learned that there had been an inmate who was a very talented violinist. And that was submitted by Anonymous from Colorado. Very cool. We're going to read one more and then we'll get to the question, what the hell is that? So here we go. Starts out last year, we visited the Cataby Tunnel. Let me comment on the last one. First of all, this kind of plays into my theory about our experiences. And oftentimes we look at locations, we look at histories. One thing we don't look at is us as part of the equation. Like for every paranormal, Fortean, supernatural experience, there's an experiencer. And the real conundrum comes when people are together in a group but have very unique experiences from each other. But it can be in a case like this where there was 2 groups in close proximity. And one group heard, without a question, some amazing violin music coming from the location of the other group. They go over there and the other group is like, what are you guys talking about? There's no violin playing. What's going on? And of course, the first group that heard it is like, how could you not hear that? It was so loud. But it does demonstrate, at least, that maybe a lot of this stuff isn't manifesting physically. Maybe it's being targeted telepathically or some other means that people just aren't used to. It could be something more to the pineal gland for sight stuff. It could be something more to a different lobe of the brain for the auditory stuff. It's maybe directed towards people to experience something. And it could also play on the abilities of the person. Like some people, as I said, I think when Sheldon was on, some people are maybe more naturally clairaudient, where they're able to hear strange disembodied voices more commonly, or screams or other noises. But the other people around them may not. But there might be another person that's more prone to seeing things, and they may see something like an apparition going in front of the group, and like the other people are like, we didn't see anything. What are you talking about? And it makes it hard to quantify that kind of stuff. But I think that a lot of this stuff may be occurring to us very directly. Like it's not atmospheric as much as it's targeted and based upon the people. So I think there's a lot that never is explored on this. And we tend to look at this phenomena with the eyes of a victim. Like, I was just down there getting the garbage, and then this thing popped up and started growling at me. And we don't consider that we may be a very, very important part of the equation, that on some level, subconscious, superconscious, etc., on some less conscious part of our awareness, we're helping to facilitate these experiences. And it's a lot to unpack. It's a lot to try to explore or even to quantify, but I believe there's something to it, because there's too many times I've heard these claims of people being together but having very different experiences. Like, one might hear something. The next one might see something but not hear it. The first one heard something but didn't see anything. The second one saw something but didn't hear it. And then a third person might have no experience at all whatsoever. And it's like, but they were right there together. How did they have three very distinct experiences? Well, it's because there's three very distinct individuals involved, and they're part of this process somehow. So I don't know. I think there's something to that. So anyway, I think, Karen says, true. Some people are more able, I think, to sense things than others. Yeah, for sure. There's definitely, a natural level of sensitivity or awareness. And some people are just born into it. Some people train that, by meditating and getting in touch with their faculties on a more, holistic level. But in any case, I think that's interesting. So, I don't know. But it's something that's generally overlooked in the paranormal. So here we go, number 9. Last year, we visited the Cataby Tunnel, located on the outskirts of Doncaster in the UK. The tunnel is reports of a ghostly girl who appears to you after calling out for the Mexborough Ragger. She's believed to be a gypsy girl who had been hit by a train in the tunnel after selling rags at the local market during the 1800s and had died. Her mom was said to have cursed the tunnel and all those who dared to call upon her nickname. So her name was Mexborough Ragger. We investigated the tunnel and had heard knocks and sounds coming towards the back of the tunnel at times, but it was otherwise a relevantly quiet night. We headed out of the tunnel, and our medium, Chrissy, was sensing a man standing and watching us from above the tunnel. We did some more investigating and nothing really materialized, and we decided to call it a night and head back towards the cars. We started to do a protection ritual on us leaving. As we stood around, Chrissy began to speak, and I could hear walking coming from all around us. I opened my eyes, but nothing was there, so I just shut them again. And once more, I heard the walking. So I opened my eyes, and again, nothing was there. Third time I heard it, I opened my eyes and saw a torchlight and the figure of a man standing at the top of the path just near our cars. I said to the others, "Someone's there." And the man stood there and then shouted, "Police!" and started to head towards my car. Chrissy shouted back, "What?" And he again shouted, "I'm the police." We started to walk to our cars, and as we did, Chrissy shouted back at him, "Have you got ID?" There was no answer. We watched him walk from the top of the hill to my car, and he shined his torch directly into my car before he simply disappeared. When we reached the cars, he was nowhere in sight. The cars were surrounded by brambles, so he couldn't have sneaked off into them, and he hadn't ran back up the hill because we would have seen him. I checked under the car, around the cars, and even looked for parked cars nearby to see if there was anywhere he could have gone. But there wasn't. We were then left questioning who or what had we seen. I was quite shaken, and my thoughts were, if it was a real person, where could he have possibly gone, and were we in danger? I went back home and asked a historian I know to look into the area for me, and what he came back with was quite amazing. A man had died in the construction of the tunnel in the 1800s and fell from the top of the tunnel. Not just that, but in later years, numerous murders and suicides took place around the wooded area on the tunnel, meaning that a reenactment of a police officer turning up wouldn't be out of the norm. I also spoke to the local police, who stated that an officer wouldn't have been located in that area at that time on his own, And if he was indeed a police officer, he would have approached us further. The possibility that I had just seen my first apparition seemed more and more likely. My instinct was confirmed further when a local paranormal team approached me and said they had also seen a man in the same area. Maybe prior to this experience, I was too naive to think a ghost could come across so strong, as solid as we were, and could interact with us as good as he did. This leaves one question now, though, and that is, if ghosts can look as solid and as physical as they did in life, how do we really know when we've seen a ghost? Charlene Lowe Kemp, Paranormal Hauntings from Nottingham, UK. It's very true. I've often thought how many of us have talked to ghosts, had interactions with ghosts and didn't know we were talking to a ghost, a spirit, or an apparition, or manifestation, if you will. I mean, I think it's very possible that many of us have. How would you know? They don't look they can manifest to such a degree that it looks just like any other person standing there. I can't tell you how many of those videos I've shown in the course of the show of the security guard at a hospital, late night, 1, 2 in the morning, and somebody will walk in, the doors will open, you'll see the doors open and close, and the security guard starts engaging them and talking to them and explaining things, and then the other security person that's watching the camera feeds calls him and goes, who are you talking to? And he's like, oh, I'm talking to then drops a name, and, it's an older lady. And the person's like, no, you're not. What do you mean? It's right here. And then they're like, you're standing there alone. We're wondering who you're talking to. And then they're like, and they nope out of there, obviously very disturbed. I think those kind of experiences would be amazing. I'd be like, oh, cool, really? And I would have to be excited by that. I think maybe I'd be afraid. I don't know. I've not been in that situation that I know of, but I've certainly left situations where I've talked to people and been like, man, that person wasn't all there. And so you wonder, is that an apparition? Is that one of those fully embodied apparitions that look like they're just as physical as us? Maybe. So how many of us have entertained spirits without knowing it? Just saying, it's a possibility. So, food for thought, if you will. There's always food for thought. All right, so we're going to go. I'm a weenie too, Maggie says. It is creepy out there. We just stay in after dark. We are weenies. No, I'm kind of a proponent of not going out after dark, honestly. It's not because, maybe it's really because I do the show. And I have an idea of things that people have seen lurking in the dark. And it's like, yeah, I'm good. I'll just stay in. I don't need to go anywhere. But, crazy. Who knows what mysteries we're surrounded by all the time, and we just don't even know to acknowledge. I think anything's possible, as I've said many times. But I want to point this out. This is coming up on October 24th, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to be over in Weymouth, Massachusetts, the Barrel House Z with the Hometown Ghost Stories guys. We're doing a live show over there. I'll be doing a show, not really a show. It's going to be more of a talk presentation thing, but they're going to do a live show like their regular show. And it's a great opportunity. You'll get to meet them. You'll get to meet me. So if you're not busy and you happen to be on the East Coast on October the 24th, head over to the Barrel House Z or go to Eventbrite and look up Hometown Ghost Stories Live. You can get tickets in advance. Then you're sure to get in. Just saying. I don't know how many tickets will be available, or if it'll be sold out before, but I would recommend getting your tickets in advance if you're going to go. So that'll be coming up then. Just wanted to drop that in there. But it's now time for another adventure in the Paranormal Portal. One that Rachel's been waiting for. And by God, can't keep the woman waiting. Here we go.
What the hell is that?
Indeed, what the hell is that? There you go. I'm going to move that up a slot here. There. Move it up above. So now when I run it again, it should look like this. There it goes.
What the hell is that?
There we go. That looks better without the Paranormal Portal logo popping through. There it is. All right, it's time for What the Hell Is That? If you're not familiar with this segment, this is where we showcase alleged evidence or captures of what might be paranormal, 4D, and supernatural kind of events. Some of it is very plausible that it's real. Some of it is very plausibly not real. And I kind of ask you to weigh in on these as we go, because I'm not pretending to be the authority on what is real or what isn't. I do have some pretty good opinions, I think, of the subject, but you may disagree, and that's okay. So let me get back here. Here we go. This one I thought was pretty darn cool. This one is coming from Jack's Paranormal on Facebook. Oh no, it's Instagram. JAKS Paranormal, all one word. And this is some claims of captures from Gettysburg. Now, if there's ever a haunted location in the U.S. that has the potential for a lot of activity, Gettysburg's going to be the place. It truly is. This is one of those locations that so much tragedy happened, and so much heartache and pain and sadness and desperation. So much was imprinted on this land where these battles took place. And, it was sometimes brothers against brothers, families against families. And, they may have known each other, but took different sides. And so it was just a really supercharged event in a very bad way. So when people record apparitions at Gettysburg, I'm probably never going to question it, because there's a lot of footage coming out of there, a lot of images, photos, video of some pretty powerful things that have happened over there. And it can be right out in the open in some old battlefield or just in an area where something happened. So most brutal battle of all time. Yeah, I would say you're right, Jared. But here we go. This is the first one that we're going to explore. It says real or fake. It's kind of chopped off. You can't really see it, but I can move it down. Real or fake? Let us know in the comments. And again, this is coming from Jack's Paranormal down here. Oh man, this is all framed terribly. Got too much crap on the screens. There we go. Jack's Paranormal is the host of this video. I don't know the origin of it, but they're hosting it on their Instagram site. Let's take a look. There's an apparition there, potentially crossing the street. The wagon path, if you will. Here comes another one. A lot of the apparitions that I've seen captured are very much like this. Could they be fake? Sure. In today's world, everything could be fake. But it's not unlike dozens of other videos that I've seen of these humanoid, misty apparitions appearing and fading away. And it just makes you think, well, is it possible? Well, given the nature of these areas and the brutality that was experienced, sure it's possible. Is this a capture of it? It's going to be hard to say, but I haven't ever seen this until now, which, like, did you see that little orb of light that popped up over here? It looks like a recreation of another video that's been out for a long time of these people sitting in their car, and they're kind of recording on this hilltop, and there's woods in the distance, like a tree line in the distance, and you can see these apparitions with lights going through the trees. And it was back in the VHS, video recorder days, the big, basically the first real, more modern advent of home video recording. And this looks like a recreation of that. Like somebody looked at that and went, I want to make something like that, showcasing a scene. There is some movement on the trees, so this is actual footage. The leaves are moving that appear to be affected by a slight breeze. But is this actual captures? Well, honestly, it could be, because it's not unlike the video I'd seen. But that also makes it suspect. So I'm kind of torn on this one. But I want you guys to vote. The AI stuff is getting harder to tell being fake. You're right, Marsha. Very true. All right, I want you to vote. Number 1, you think this is potentially a real capture of some spiritual energy still wandering the battlefield? 0.5, maybe. Or 0, not so much. What do you think? Let's see. 0.5, Maggie. Yeah, I'm with you there. Shell Bell says nope. Lenda's maybe. Okay. Fair enough. Good. My stomach just hobbled. Did you hear that? It was not a disembodied voice. It was my stomach. Freaky photo, scary. It's not a photo, though, actually, Benno. It's footage. This is actually footage. Beth's about halfway there. Last light's all in. Rachel says nope, not believing it. Shell Bell seems fake to me. Half for Karen, half for Jim, half for Diane. Supernatural Station, 0.5. Unless I'm 6.7 miles from it, I can't trust it. Yeah, I missed it. But residual, yeah. If it was actual captures, more than likely this is residual. It doesn't seem to be aware at all of the people watching. It's just something walking a path that maybe was somehow psychically recorded and is being reinitialized through time. I don't know. But the thing that makes it more suspect to me, 0.5, Benno says not sure. I can't tell, but could. Yeah, and it sure could be. It could be legit. But the red flag to me is, where was this? Why is this just coming out now in the advent of an era where we're heavily using AI to create some very convincing pieces? The VHS tape, I'm all in on. The one that I was explaining before, it happens at a nighttime shot. It's much darker than this on the VHS capture, but it's very much like this, where you see the lights pop every once in a while in the trees and the bushes, and then you'll see these humanoid apparitions of mist come out and fade into the nothing. I mean, that happens in that other video. So to me, my gut is telling me this is a more modern AI recreation of that scene, at least encapsulating a lot of the same fundamentals as the other scene. But on the same point, I would say that I've seen another video that I believe is true that was just like this. So this could also be true based on the fact that it's like watching the same material again. No real deviation other than location. So I don't know. You be the judge. Brent, looks like a picture from Where Did the Road Go with Soraya Askar YouTube channel. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the origin is other than to say it's from, I found it on Jack's Paranormal on Instagram. So I think it's interesting. It could be. AI is pretty good anymore. You're right, Linda. It's hard to know. So what did Rumble say? Let's see. Barbara says it could be, yeah. And Car Juice is all in too. Yeah. I mean, it sure could be. Sure could be. So I'm really kind of torn in the middle. I think it's subject matter wise and what we're seeing, I've seen before. So yeah, that's very plausible to me. But the curiosity is that it just kind of came out now. I've never seen any other footage with this road or this footage as it were. So until now, which makes me feel like, well, they're recreating a very classic piece of paranormal video. So there it is. That's the first one. I think it's a good capture, though. Even if it's rendered, it's so very much like the other video that I saw that I still like it. But I don't like this as this is an age of easy hoaxing. All you need is a good prompt. All you need to be able to do is to convey thoughts in a prompt, and AI can create amazing, footage for you. And that's tragic as well. If you're using it to demonstrate, like to make a video of an account that happens, like you're interviewing a witness, they explain to you what happened, and then you use AI to recreate it so you have a visual representation of it. Phenomenal. Beautiful work. Great use of the AI to help bring the viewer, listener into the experience. When you're claiming it's the evidence itself, not so beautiful, no. I don't like that part. So that's the first one. We got a lot more. Let's get to the lot more part. The lot more part comes here. This is from S.K. Pierce, Haunted Victorian Mansion on Facebook. So this one's kind of cool. But no, not kind of cool. It's very cool. I want to just pause it because it auto-played once I pulled up the window. This is really wide. I'll just try to frame it as best I can focusing on the action here, but this is coming from the S.K. Pierce Mansion. And the S.K. Pierce Mansion, I don't remember where it is, but I know I've heard that name hundreds of times through the years. I think this might be a good frame. Let's see. But this activity is pretty well known. If residual hauntings are real, don't you think that we would see them while people were still alive? Yeah, we do. There's accounts of residual hauntings happening. I guess I can paraphrase it for you quick, but just for a matter of context. There was a woman who was married to an active service member, and they were newly married, starting a family. She was pregnant, and they decided to buy a house together. And so they bought a house. And they moved in, and soon after, he was activated and sent over to the Middle East. And she was left home to try to make this life work and get through pregnancy. And, hopefully then he would be back and they could resume their dream. Well, she was at home, very pregnant. And she got the knock on the door, and the service members were informing her that her husband had passed away overseas in action. And so she was crushed. She was crushed, absolutely devastated by this event. And she was so miserable, so sad. And she's dealing with all of this, being a mom, soon to be mom, a house that was a broken dream now. And she's alone to deal with this. So I guess one of her processing places was to go kind of put her belly on the counter at the sink in the kitchen and just sit there and just bawl, just let it out. And this poor woman did that and dealt with it. Well, eventually she had the baby, and then she realized this house was too much for her to take care of with a brand new baby all by herself. So she opted to sell the house. And so it was shown, and eventually somebody did purchase the house. She moved out, but she was good friends with the neighbors. And so like a year or so after she was out, she went back to visit her old neighbors. She was just like, well, how's everything going? Catching up. It had been a while since she'd seen them. And she said, by the way, how are things at the house? And the new owners liking the house. And the neighbors told her, they said, they love the house, but they're really troubled. And she goes, why? She goes, well, the neighbor says, well, they keep seeing this ghostly apparition of a woman in the kitchen leaning against the counter, crying and wailing and mourning. And they're just terrified. Now, she was very much alive, and that was what she did to process it. But it had left an imprint that these new owners were now experiencing. So residual doesn't always mean imprint from the dead. It can be an imprint from the living. So, but very cool. So I hope that helps to, explain that possibility. All right, here we are. We're going to go to the S.K. Pierce Mansion and check this out. Here it is. This is it. Here's the video. Yeah, I guess I framed it up pretty good. That looks pretty good. So one of the claims in this S.K. Pierce Mansion is this ball that gets played with. And I think this is a really good capture, but let's check it out. I don't know if there's sound to it or not. I hope it's not music. It might be. Let's see. Yeah. So the ball was resting on the stairs, and suddenly it just decided to roll down. It's going to replay here in a second. Boom. Boom. I don't know about you, but if I saw that, I'd be like, yeah, there's something moving that ball. I know a lot of us go to, well, what could explain that? Is there a draft? Is there a draft in the house? Is there something happening, some vibration that maybe made that ball shookless? I mean, you could throw a million ideas at it, and you just have to go there and disprove that. But I think, I don't know, the kids, Rachel and Gordon, are at it again yesterday evening, kicking their ball for the camera. So I guess there's apparently the apparition of two children there, or ghosts of two children. And that was, I mean, look at that place. It's beautiful. Look at that banister, and look at that light post on that banister. I think that is so beautiful. Wow. And the woodwork. What a beautiful location. My God. But yeah, I'd say that that's a pretty good capture. This is apparently one of their static cameras that they leave going, and that's what they caught. So, vote time. Do you think this is a capture of paranormal activity? 1 if you do, 0 if you don't. If you're in the middle, 0.5. I like the new 0.5 rating. It's a terrible kick. Yeah, I don't think they're going to score any goals with that, but the fact that they made a ball move is pretty huge. After I say things like that, I'm like, yeah, I shouldn't have said it like that. So, anyway. All right, so, Marsha is not in on this. Pixie Ranger's not in on it. Maggie's not in on it. But Adventures with Beth, John Stevenson, Shellbell, 0.5. Rachel gets it right, 0.5. Michelle Wolfong, 0.5. Brandy Copeland. Noise was weird, didn't match. Could be a latency issue. I don't know. It's could be the way that their clip uploaded, that the sound and the video didn't quite sync. That happens. I don't know how old this video is, but I guess it's from this year. Actually, from September 25th. It's just a couple days old. But not syncing video with audio isn't really peculiar to me. That happens. It can be any number of reasons. Could have been just the editing process. They might have edited a piece of the footage, but forgot to edit the audio as well. Usually it does it both, but yeah. Supernatural Station, 1. Okay. What do we got? Barbara Morris says nope. She's not into that. Car Juice is halfway there, though. Okay. Yeah, it's interesting. Had it gone upstairs, now that would have been impressive. I think that would have been scary as hell if it went upstairs. If it goes up the stairs, that's all kinds of levels of creepy, because that's like, I don't know, that's like being shown the reverse of things, I think is more, to me, it's more diabolical. You know, it's like more of a tinge of, yeah, I'm really going to screw with you. I'm really going to screw you up. Seeing a ball come down the stairs, it's profound activity. But seeing it go up the stairs, that to me just feels wrong. Like it's contrary. It's contrary is what it seems to be demonstrating. And I would think that would be more a demonstration of a darker presence. Why? I don't know. I just feel that way on a very intuitive level. Why was the ball on the stairs? Because they know these kids are there, so the balls are always balls are left out. I think that they try to capture activity, so the ball was probably left there just to see if something would move it down the stairs eventually. Obviously, they planted cameras and they're putting it out there when they catch stuff, so they're trying to raise awareness of the location. I don't have stairs anymore, but I would go ape over a ball on the stairs. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be happy about it. If my kid left a ball on the stairs, I'd be like, what the hell are you doing? You're trying to kill me? But anyway, yeah, I think this is great, a great capture personally, but I guess everybody has their own opinions, and that's the purpose of this segment, but I don't see anything on this that seems artificial. The only thing I would hope for is to have more, prior to the ball rolling, have more footage there so that you can see it was actually at rest and it wasn't just caught in a stop frame and then played. That's the only criticism I would have of this clip, but I think it's a great capture. I think the S.K. Pierce Mansion is pretty well known in the paranormal circles as a pretty good location, so that doesn't surprise me at all that a ball might be interacted with and caused to go down the stairs. I don't know that it's the kids doing it. I think that's a leap of assumption there, but we don't know what's doing it. But something may have interacted with that ball to cause it to go down the stairs. So I think it's a good capture, but that's my take. I give it a 1 for sure, but we all have different ideas. So, all right, that's the next one. We got more. Let's do the more. Oh, it's already 8:30. Man, the night goes fast. This one I got sent to by, I think this is by Rachel. No, I think it was Chucky. I think this was Chucky. This isn't really an expose kind of paranormal, but it is a good illustration of why you got to know the sounds of nature. If you don't know the sounds of nature, you might find yourself running out in the woods after a mountain lion that sounds like a screaming woman. Case in point, our next video. Here you go. From Mr. Chucky Danger. This is coming from beautifullyhaunting.me. on Instagram. This is original audio from them. I guess this is their footage, but let's check it out. Listen to the sounds this thing's making. So if you ever hear that sound in the woods, don't go looking for it. Don't go trying to help. That you might just be helping to fill their belly. I don't know. That's creepy. It's funny that they make that noise. You wouldn't think they would. When you look at them, you think roar, something, growl, roar, hiss. You don't think, That's not where my head would go when I look at a big cat like that and then you hear that sound. So there's crazy sounds they can make, though. And that's why it's probably important to become as familiar with the natural sounds as you can before you go out investigating cryptids, because there's a lot of sounds nature makes that sound absolutely wrong. This one is a good case in point. Sounds like a woman screaming. And it's definitely, I mean, she might be female, but she's not screaming. So anyway, be careful. All the other animals are like, shut up. Yes, I've heard of koala, Maggie. They are the most horrible sounding animals in this planet. Koalas sound like just rage and hate. I did not expect that sound to come from that little teddy bear. That was really disturbing. Not to mention, apparently, they're really common carriers of syphilis. So, why do I know that? I saw it pop up somewhere, and I was like, oh, who found that out? I don't understand, doctor. I haven't been with anybody. Oh, wait. Oh, possums too? That's comforting. I didn't need to know that either. Oh, it's chlamydia. Okay. What? Potato. Yeah, whatever it is. It's like, yeah, I mean, who found out they got the clap? Who's the guy that brought that to the doctor's office? You have this weird rash. Oh, yes, you do. You've got the clap. But I don't understand. There are koalas in Kentucky. Oh, there you go, Shane. They sound horrible. Koalas sound horrible. Not the sound they should make. They should make a cute sound. It just wrecks the whole thing. It's like it's like going to the karaoke bar and this amazingly handsome guy will get up and he's all attitude and then he just belts out some turd. It's like, oh God, you wrecked everything. Not that I'm looking for amazingly handsome guys, but I didn't want to be a pig and talk about a hot chick and up there with a microphone. And then she's, sounds like a cat with its tail in the door. But anyway, it's disheartening when beautiful things sound absolutely nightmarish. It's very disheartening. All right. So thank you, Chucky, for that. I think we all needed to know. Now we know. So that's why they say if you hear a woman screaming, don't run towards it. Yeah, you might get a lot of teeth and claws and rage for your noble efforts. All right, well, here we go. This is a photo, and this one is coming from Paranormal Collective on Facebook, and it's interesting. I don't know any feedback of this, and I'll weigh in on my ideas of this after we get started here. There was nothing to vote on for the last one, so I'm not going to put it up for a vote. It's like, yeah, that's a mountain lion screaming. You should know. Don't go towards that sound. The end. So here we go. This is the next one, and this is it's very tragic, I guess, is the best way to put it. But here you go. A photograph capturing a tragic accident shows an unsettling figure standing a short distance from the wreckage, appearing to observe themselves being extracted from the vehicle. The individual in the photo seems oblivious to the presence of the entity. Moreover, the entity is situated in an unusual location for a bystander to be. All right. And there it is. Thank God for the red arrow, because never would have found that. I don't know. I mean, we don't know what the person looked like. Does this a match for it? What if it was an 80-year-old woman? We don't know what's going on here. So I guess the assumption is this is what the person looked like, but we don't know. But here's this one. This one to me is a little suspect, and that is you've got all this activity everywhere around except this area that the figure appears in. So was anything in here? I mean, it's pristine. It's the wreckage goes right up to the edge and then stops. But the grass is pristine. Everything we can see. It's standard, uniform. There's like no debris or anything in that. The edge is the truck and then the other lane. So it makes this very easy to Photoshop an image into and make it seem like part of the frame. I don't know. To me, that's a little suspect. I guess we can zoom in a bit to get a better look. Is he really there, or was he put there for the sake of evidence? And I'm not critiquing Paranormal Collective. They're just posting it, putting it out there for, conversation. It's the lawyer waiting to blow up his mailbox. Yeah, maybe. Could be an ambulance chaser. You never know. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Is this a capture of an apparition watching his own accident scene? Number 1 or 0? You think, nah, not really. Probably not. What is your gut telling you guys? That's what this is all about. Weigh in the chats if you would, please. So hard to tell, but it does happen. Beth's giving us a maybe. Shell Bell's not buying it. Linda's not buying it. Rachel's not buying it. Maggie's not buying it. Henry Dong and Marsha are both 0s. Oh, you don't want $1 million? Okay. I don't know if that's an answer, but that's the unknown's feedback. Diane, not so much. Karen Alberting, not so much. Pose looks casual too. Yeah, good point. I mean, I'd be like this if it was me. I'd be like, what am I seeing? This guy's like, oh, that sucks. Sucks for that guy. Wait, what? I don't know. It does 0 say by 0. Yeah, Grandizer, I'm hearing you. I just think the grass is the part that bothers me the most, because there's all this activity, all this stuff, and the stuff is over here, but obviously there's a wreckage of something there they're working on, but this is just pristine, and that's the part that I'm like, well, what are the odds of that? I don't know. You be the judge. I don't know. I don't know the background on this picture other than what I just read to you from here. So yeah, it could be. It's not that it couldn't be. Barbara Moore is all in on this one. Car Juice, not so much. Okay. Gotcha. Okay, I'll change my answer. You don't have to change your answer. You could be, those of you that say this is a 1, perfectly good response. It really could be. It's just this part, for some reason, really shocks me that it's just so uniform and free of any kind of interference. It's just a perfect cut grass. So, I don't know. It seems odd. Yeah, I just verified from the shadows at AOL.com. Not sure what you verified. But yeah, interesting. Oh. Is AOL still a thing? I didn't know, but I'll try it, I guess. Okay. I got it now. I got the context. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's possible, but to me that just looks like a staging for some editing there. But you be the judge again. All right, let's go to the next one. Cut and paste. Yeah, it could be. Could very well be. Could very easily be. I don't know how many more we're going to do. We got up 43. Got a little more to do. Non-human entity on civilian. I don't remember what this one was, but it's a Instagram link from AKA Jace the Ace. So let's check this out. It's from Instagram, AKA Jace the Ace. JASETHEACE. also known as Jace the Ace. Okay. I don't remember what it was. I got it set for the loop to put it up on screen. Let's turn this off. This one, the next one I think is a little bunky, but anyway, let's get to this one, Jace the Ace. I don't remember the context of this one, so we'll find out together. Jace the Ace, Instagram, post this one. North Carolina Sheriff confirms non-human entity attack on civilian. Shocking report out of North Carolina claims that a local sheriff's office is investigating an alleged encounter between a civilian and a non-human entity. Okay, well, let's see what it is. I don't know. I don't remember. Oh, music. Oh, yeah. I remember. It's a 911 call.
Tender County 911, what's the address of your emergency?
I'm driving on 210. I just crossed the Black River, and I thought I saw a guy standing on the side of the road bleeding.
Okay, where are you at, sir?
I'm on 210. I just crossed the Black River. I'm heading towards 53 East. I just passed Patriots Watch.
Okay, so you're over near Morse Creek?
Yes.
Okay. And did you saw a man standing on the side of the road?
What the?
What was that, sir?
That's not human! That's not human!
Sir, are you okay, sir?
There's something in the bed of my truck!
Okay, what's in the road?
No, it's not in the road. It's in my truck. In the bed.
There's something in the bed of your truck?
Yes, ma'am. I just turned on my bed lights for my truck, and there's something in my bed.
Okay, sir, when you say something, what do you mean?
I just knocked it off of the bed of my truck and went over my roof.
Okay, what was it?
According to the CAD notes and the deputy reports, this thing jumped into the back of his pickup truck and began to actually beat on the top of the cab of his truck. You could actually hear something beating on the top of the truck. The caller stated that it was beating and scratching on the top of the cab of his truck. He actually stated that he was able to engage his bed light and was able to somewhat identify this object that was in the back of his truck. At some point, he was able to slam on his brakes, and the force of inertia actually threw this thing out over his hood and onto the highway, where this thing stood up in the roadway, made its way to the wood line, and disappeared in the woods. It is very hard to listen to that call, to that 911 tape, without becoming somewhat unnerved. It actually bothered me the first time that I heard it.
Yeah, just the panic in that guy's voice. I mean, it's very much akin to the get somebody over here. What's going on, sir? I don't know. It's about 6'9". I don't know. You see him? Yeah, he's looking right at me. It's like that. It's that kind of intensity. It's like, Jesus, what in the hell's going on? So we don't really have a physical description. I can't wait to hear your episode, Wes, because the guy bleeding he saw has historically been seen for over 100 years. Wow. So is your take on it, Wes, that this is a cryptid, or is it an apparition ghost thing, or what? What is, this is the only background of it that I've found. I haven't heard your episode yet. That is my 911 call from the last time I went out with Brent and Wes. Yeah, no, there's no video of that, Shane. That's that would get us demonetized, I'm sure. Brent, play it again. Okay, might as well go for the whole copyright strike. Here it is one more time for Diane. From 2021, July 31st.
Tender County 911, what's the address of your emergency?
I'm driving on 210. I just crossed the Black River, and I thought I saw a guy standing on the side of the road bleeding.
Okay, where are you at, sir?
I'm on 210. I just crossed the Black River. I'm heading towards 53 East. I just passed Patriots Watch.
Okay, so you're over near Morse Creek?
Yes.
Okay. And did you saw a man standing on the side of the road?
This is the part that's a little weird. That sounds like maybe something was edited there, because there's like this pause and then boom, you know, it's in my truck. You know, there's like a gap there. Like he never really answers this question. But anyway.
What the?
What was that, sir?
That's not human! That's not human!
Sir, are you okay,
You
sir?
can hear him hitting the gas there, like.
There's something in the back of my truck!
Okay, what's in the road?
No, it's not in the road, it's in my truck. In the bed.
There's something in the bed of your truck?
Yes, ma'am, I just turned on my bed lights for my truck and there's something in my bed.
Okay, sir, when you say something, what do you mean?
I just knocked it off of the bed of my truck and went over my roof.
Okay, what was it?
According to the CAD notes and the deputy reports, this thing jumped into the back of his pickup truck and began to actually beat on the top of the cab of his truck. You could actually hear something beating on the top of the truck. The caller stated that it was beating and scratching on the top of the cab of his truck. He actually stated that he was able to engage his bed light and was able to somewhat identify this object that was in the back of his truck. At some point, he was able to slam on his brakes, and the force of inertia actually threw this thing out over his hood and onto the highway, where this thing stood up in the roadway, made its way to the wood line, and disappeared in the woods. It is very hard to listen to that call, to that 911 tape, without becoming somewhat unnerved. It actually bothered me the first time that I heard it.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I guess the best recourse after this is, please interview the guy. I don't even know who the guy is, but is to go check out Wes's newest episode. And here, he said that there's a full story at the end of the show. The end of the show, I play what happened, the whole story. Yeah, that sounds fascinating. So that's crazy. It sounded like a rake in his truck, but he was the Revolutionary Soldier ghost. Huh, that's crazy. Yeah, so go check out the newest episode of Sasquatch Chronicles for all the information, I guess, that we don't currently have. And that's cool. What are the odds? Wes, great minds, I'm just saying. I didn't do an episode about it, but I included it in the episode, so I guess I'm in the club. I made the cool club. There you go. Wow, that's amazing. Very cool. I think we'll end the What the Hell Is That segment here and get back to the rest of what we have time for, which is probably a couple of stories from the interwebs dealing with some cryptids. Kind of a good segue, though, honestly. I don't need you guys to vote on that one because, obviously, it's a 911 call. That'd be a hell of a hoax. I think something really happened there. I don't know what, but very cool. But check out the newest episode of Sasquatch Chronicles, ladies and gentlemen. You can check it out everywhere you find podcasts, or go to SasquatchChronicles.com. Because you know what? That's where we're going. Right now. Oh, he saw the Revolutionary Soldier ghost at first, is what I mean. But then he had the other encounter. Maggie, you leaving? Take care, lady. Thanks for coming in. Salon Strickler had the highway ghost stories yesterday. That was scary. Oh, cool. Yeah, I missed that episode. I usually try to listen a lot as I'm prepping for my show, but I didn't get a chance to do that. But this has been What the Hell Is That? And now it's time for the next part of our journey, which is, it should have been a much better segue than the one I just gave you, but that's what you get. Here it is. It is called This is the next segment of our show, which should have been much better than the way I presented it right now. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready, because we're heading into the Cryptid Corner. There it is, the Cryptid Corner, ladies and gentlemen. This is a segment of the show where we talk about cryptozoological sightings and experiences. And if you're not sure what a cryptid or cryptozoological creature is, it's like Bigfoot, Dogman, creatures that are claimed to be out there. People are seeing them, experiencing them, but they're not being acknowledged by our sciences and biology yet. So this is the Cryptid Corner. We're going to start out in SasquatchChronicles.com, same place you can find that newest episode, or so much more if you head over to the blog. Click on the blog and you can go through thousands of amazing stories that Wes posts, and he's always updating it. Does a hell of a job. He's a big part of what Sasquatch Chronicles has to offer. So, all right, here we go from September 16th, Rocky Mountain National Park. This is another listener email, and I love these. I'm so glad you post these, Wes, because these are really incredible. I know they all won't make it as episodes just because you'd have to have an episode a day for the rest of your life to use all of these, but these are still pretty powerful experiences. So very cool. You can find them over there, ladies and gentlemen. September 16th, Rocky Mountain National Park. A listener writes, oh, Jesus, I'm getting froggy. Hold on. A listener writes, this occurred in August of 2024. I grew up in a small town in central Oklahoma and spent a lot of time in the woods hunting and fooling around as a kid and as a teen. I was very much what most would consider a redneck. After high school, I moved away to the city and spent less and less time in the woods, rather. And after a while, I decided I wanted to escape from the city life for a few days and get away into the forest. I purchased permits for a couple backcountry camping sites within Rocky Mountain National Park and planned a solo trip. I planned to stay out in the wilderness for 3 nights. I got to our Rocky Mountain National Park, RMNP, early on the first morning of my trip and parked at the trailhead and began my hike. My first night campsite was a few miles into the backcountry. The first few hours of my hike were very normal. I passed other hikers and exchanged chit-chat about the weather and the views, and then just pressed on. Just before noon, I stopped to get water from a stream about a quarter mile from my campsite, and as I was filtering water into my Nalgene, I don't know what that means, some kind of water filtration unit, I felt the hairs on my neck stand up. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching me from the tree line behind the stream. I finished filtering my water and finished up on the hike to my site. The site was in pretty rough shape, so I took a minute to clean up some fallen limbs and pine one. I don't know what that means, and pine one. And then I set up camp and cooked one of my backpacking meals. And this is when things start to get more strange. As I was eating my meal, I kept hearing what sounded like conversations in the distance. This area of the park is pretty remote and not within earshot or eyeshot of any other trails or campsites. You have to have a permit displayed on your bag just to access this trail section, so nobody should be around. Well, nevertheless, I'm hearing talking just out of range from what I can see. And it was clearly speaking, but not in any language I could understand. I eventually decided to ignore it and just finished up my meal. After my meal, I walked down to the stream to rinse out my cook pot, and again I felt something watching me. I kept trying to ignore it and went back to the camp to read my book. I was sitting on a stump when I saw what looked like a dark figure, almost like a shadow, just glide between 2 trees. Whatever it was very low to the ground, and the way it moved was like it was gliding effortlessly. It went between the trees and didn't come out the other side of the tree that it went behind. It was low down, but it looked like it was almost crawling. I chalked it up to maybe a hallucination from the altitude, and I continued trying to ignore what I saw and read my book. A few minutes later, I heard a low guttural growl that made me completely freeze. Every instinct in me told me to get out of there, so I packed up my day pack and just hiked back to the car. When I got to my car, I called the ranger station because I'd been instructed by the rangers to contact them if I had seen any possible bears around the campsites when I picked up my permits. I honestly didn't think it was a bear, but it was the only thing that made sense at the time. I explained what I saw and heard to the rangers, and they had that bear technician for the park meet me at the trailhead, and we hiked back to my site so he could examine everything and determine if there was any bear sign in the area. Well, at my site, he spent about 15 minutes checking everything out and determined there was no evidence that any bears had been in or around my campsite. Well, that put me at ease, and the ranger left me his phone number and hiked out after telling me to contact them again if I saw anything else. At this point, the sun was getting low in the sky. I just decided to hop in my tent and relax for a minute. As I was laying in my tent, I got the most horrible feeling in my stomach that if I did not leave the area, that something terrible was going to happen. I can't really explain the feeling. It's almost like something was psychologically forcing me to leave. So I just packed up all my gear into my pack, which took about 15 minutes. And as I was doing this, the voices started picking up again. By the time I was packed up and beginning my hike out, the sun was dropping below the horizon. After about 30 minutes into my hike out, the sun had completely set. I started to get an intense wave of dread. I decided to ditch my backpack off the side of the trail and covered it with some loose brush so I could move faster. I didn't know why I did this because all the contents in my bag was pretty expensive, but I just did it anyway. I figured I could come back in the morning to get my bag. As I was making my way out, I started to see those dark figures darting between the trees, again moving alongside of me. They were always just behind and to the side of me. That was uphill. As I kept moving, I swear, they started laughing. It sounded almost like a juvenile kind of laugh, like kids, and it seemed like they were making fun of me. About that time, it started raining, and the laughing got louder. And this kept up until I was about a quarter mile from my car at the trailhead. I made it back to my car and ended up sleeping in my car that night. I went back the next morning to retrieve my backpack off the side of the trail, and when I got to my backpack, the pockets were unzipped, and some of my items, like my map and my first aid kit, were pulled out and laying beside the bag. I collected my things and left the park and ended my trip right there. I've been back to Rocky Mountain National Park on 2 other camping trips since then and have had no issues or encounters. Once in a main park car camping site and another backcountry trip into the wilderness. I don't know what I encountered, but I have not been back to that specific area of the park since. Yeah, that's a little spooky. That's a lot spooky, especially the part where it goes through your pockets. I mean, that's a very articulated kind of maneuver to grab a zipper and to open it. Didn't tear through the bag. It just grabbed the zipper and unzipped it. Like this wasn't his first rodeo. Just decided to see what that man had. So crazy encounter. But there you have it, folks. This has been the Cryptid Corner. We only had time for one, but we had an extended what the hell was that segment. So I got to make the cuts somewhere. And we kind of cut everything shorter just to make room for all those what the hell was that's. So I hope you guys had a good time. Remember, please get subscribed. Please hit the like before you leave. I'd love to know that you enjoyed the show, and I'd like you to show YouTube that you enjoyed the show. So hit the like and get subscribed, ring the bell, do all that magic stuff that makes my channel special. I would really appreciate it. Your endorsement goes a long way and makes me feel warm and loved, which is important. And just know that I feel warm and lovingly towards all of you. So just saying, it's a circle of love. So you got that going for you at the end of the day. But I'll be back, I think Wednesday. Yeah, I'll be back Wednesday. We'll start it all up again. I think Paranormal Paul from Paranormal Among Us is going to join me on Wednesday, and we're going to do another show. So, and then Sheldon should be Friday, and then Chucky should be back for the Saturday show next week. So we're kind of booked in there. Got it rolling. Awesome show as always. Thank you, Shellbell. Thank you. Who else? Rachel. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you, Michelle Wolfong. You guys make this amazing. So that's what we got time for tonight. We did a little bit of overtime, but that's okay. Hello, Justin Good Earth. Good to see you, brother. I see you popped in over there. Sorry I couldn't pull myself away from the Oregon win over Penn State. I know where I am on the roster of importance. Thank you. No, it's cool. Glad you had a good time watching the game. That's it for me. Have a great rest of your weekend. Watch for the new podcast episode that should be released on Monday. If not, check social media. I'll always update, let you know when the postings are going to happen, if they're going to be late. But generally speaking, I release new episodes every week. If you haven't caught the episode from this week, let me just play it for you. I can just play it for you. I'll play you the intro. Kind of proud of the intro. The intro was fun. I should do more of that. I should really do more of that, but I usually don't because I have so little time. But let me do this. I'm going to play you the intro from this week's new podcast episode. It was a good discussion. Had a great time with him. So let me just pull this up, and you can see it. You can hear it, I guess, for yourself, not see it. But you can hear it. Want to hear it? Here it go. Let's open with this. This will just be a couple minutes. Just hang in there. Grandizer. Sorry, Grandizer. Everything got cut short for the extra. What the hell is that? But I think it was a good segment. Everybody, and welcome to the Paranormal Portal. I'm your host, Brent Thomas. Thank you so much for joining us today. We've got an epic show ahead, but just remember, if any of you have experiences you'd like to share, I'd love to hear from you. You can either email me at paranormalportalradio@gmail.com or head over to paranormalportal.net and scroll down and find the button that says Interview Me, and that'll allow you to look at a calendar of possible times and dates and find a date that works for you. Love to hear your stories, so definitely get in touch with me.
Lizzie Borden took an axe and gave her mother 40 whacks. When she saw what she had done, she gave her father 41.
This chilling children's rhyme has echoed through the generations. A grim nursery tale that introduced countless kids to the horror of murder. But behind the rhyme lies a truly gruesome truth. The brutal, unforgiving killings that stained this home with blood and shocked a nation. Though Lizzie Borden was ultimately acquitted of the crimes, the truth of what really happened that fateful day remains a chilling mystery. Her freedom left behind a legacy of suspicion and a story that has captivated people for over a century. Today, the Lizzie Borden house stands as a monument to the unsolved darkness, now considered one of America's most haunted locations. It continues to attract crowds of paranormal enthusiasts and curious tourists, all hoping to uncover a secret or encounter a spirit still trapped in the house's dark, silent rooms. Hey everybody, and welcome. There it is. So if you want to hear the rest of the episode, that was my intro, and I think it set the stage really nice for the discussion that I had with Rick McIntyre, one of the tour guides at the Lizzie Borden house. We have a great discussion about the questions about the Lizzie Borden murder, the trial, the weirdness of the trial, and the eventual acquittal, and the ongoing activity there. So it was a great discussion. I'll definitely get Rick back at some point in the future as well, but hope you'll check it out. It's available everywhere podcasts are available. Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, CastBox, Stitcher, any number of other places. So please download it, have a listen, and if you like it, please leave a comment and rate the episode. That'd be great. But that's all we got time for. Actually, that's more than we had time for. But I took time for you. But thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Lizzie did it 1.0. Yeah, she might have. But anyway, listen to the episode. Love you guys. I'll see you Wednesday. Watch for the new podcast Monday. Until then.